I'm grateful for the opportunity to rise on behalf of the wonderful, hardworking farmers and producers in the constituency of Yorkton, Melville, and across Canada. While I speak tonight in the dead of winter, it's important for all Canadians to know that a farmer's work does not end with the harvest. It's a relentless, continuous job of meticulous planning and precision execution where success from year to year is not guaranteed. Farming families are subject to market forces, unpredictable weather patterns, and other phenomena they cannot control. However, what they all hope can be reasonably relied on is their own federal government's attitude towards food production and the tools that they need to get the job done. Before the House recessed, I asked the Minister direct questions specifically about fertilizer production in Canada. Fertilizer production is essential to Canadian agriculture and to our food security. Across this country, over 118,000 Canadians are directly or indirectly employed by the industry, many of them in rural regions like Yorkton, Melville, where these jobs are the backbone of local economies. And yet, instead of supporting this vital sector, the Liberal government is punishing it. I asked the Minister why Liberal insists on maintaining a $1.3 billion industrial carbon tax on Canadian-made fertilizer. I asked why they've chosen to impose bulk fertilizer label changes that will cost the industry over $120 million. And I asked why they have no problem with the industry losing $48 billion through their 30% by 2030 emissions target. Every one of these costs must be either absorbed by the industry or passed down to the consumers. In both cases, it results in higher costs for food for Canadians. Consider for a moment that the Prime Minister was elected in part on the promise that he would lower grocery prices. He even told Canadians to judge him through the prices they pay at the grocery store. Less than a year into his mandate, the bill was already in. Since he became Prime Minister, food inflation has doubled to the highest level in the G7. It's doubled that of the US. The government can no longer hide behind global excuses when every comparable country is doing better than Canada. Food inflation is a homegrown problem driven by high Liberal taxes on farmers, fertilizer producers, and food processors, combined with inflationary deficits to make everything more expensive. The trickle-down consequences are devastating. In Canada, a G7 nation, food banks saw nearly 2.2 million visits in a single month last year. The 2026 food price report estimates it will cost $17,600 to feed a family of four, $1,000 more than last year. Those are debilitating costs for any middle-class family, but let alone families that are already struggling to get by. Both consumers and farmers are being squeezed from every direction. Operating costs have risen 2.5% in a single year. Higher energy prices drove up fertilizer costs, fuel for farm equipment, and the cost of transporting food from the farm gate to the store. Producers were forced to take on a 14.1% more debt in 2024, the largest annual increase since 1981. We remember when Mr. Pierre Trudeau was there. These are family farms, these are multi-generational operations, and this government is pushing them closer to the brink. Conservatives have offered a clear and common sense way forward. We've called on the government to scrap the industrial carbon tax on fertilizer and farm equipment, eliminate the 17% litre fuel standard on gas and diesel, and axe the billion-dollar food packaging tax, all hidden taxes that drive up the cost of food for everyone. Sadly, the Liberals have already rejected this proposal, and as we get closer and closer to another growing season, farmers and producers are faced with this government that is entrenched in its ideology and unwilling to act on affordability. It is unwilling to, at the very least, get out of the way of our fertilizer producers and farmers so they can do what they do best, feed this nation and feed the world.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I know that some people think that after February 1st you shouldn't, but I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year because it's the first time I've been able to engage with you. Mr. Speaker, the purpose of Canada's industrial carbon pricing system is straightforward and fair. Large producers should take responsibility for the pollution they produce. That is the principle at the heart of this policy and is one Canadians understand instinctively. When pollution has real costs for our health, our environment, our economy, and our future, those costs should not be absorbed by families, taxpayers, or future generations. Instead, it seems that the opposition has not taken the time to understand the substance of our environmental policies. Mr. Speaker, what I do know is that within billions is the $57 billion in decarbonization relating to industrial carbon pricing infrastructure. The industrial carbon pricing system is not a tax designated to punish industry. It's a performance-based system that applies only to Canada's largest emitters and is carefully collaborated to maintain competitiveness while driving cleaner growth. Facilities are charged only on emissions above a set standard, which rewards companies that operate more efficiently and invest in cleaner technologies. Those that innovate pay less. Those that pollute more are expected to pay more. This approach is essential for Canada's economic future. Global markets are moving quickly towards low-carbon production. Major trading partners are introducing carbon border measures and clean procurement standards. Countries that fail to reduce industrial emissions will face growing trade barriers and investment risks. Industrial carbon pricing helps ensure Canadian products remain competitive in a world that increasingly values low-emission production. The system also provides flexibility. Facilities can reduce emissions directly, improve efficiency, switch fuels, generate credits, or purchase credits from others who outperform their targets. This market-based design keeps costs down and allows businesses to choose the most cost-effective path forward, rather than imposing rigid rules or blanket changes. It is also important to be clear about what this policy does and does not do. It does not apply to families at the checkout counter, it does not apply to farms, and it is not the driver of rising grocery prices. Food inflation has been shaped by global energy shocks, supply chain disruptions, climate-related crop losses, and international market volatility. Pressures being felt well beyond our country's borders. Mr. Speaker, abandoning the polluter pays principle would not make Canada more competitive. It would make us less prepared. It would leave Canadian industries exposed to future trade penalties and undermine the investments already underway to modernize our economy. Our approach ensures that heavy industry does its fair share, innovation is rewarded, and Canada remains a strong, credible trading partner in a rapidly changing global economy. Thank you.
Honourable member for Yorkton Melville.
Our farmers are the cleanest in the world, and they have the most innovative farming in the world. They should not be penalized. Judging from the empty rhetoric we've heard from this government in recent days, farmers and producers are in for another season of uncertainty when it comes to keeping their businesses to be competitive. It's also clear that Canadian families must also brace for another year of pain at the checkout. Last week, the Prime Minister admitted something Canadians already knew. He has no plan to stop food inflation, which is now the highest in the G7. Instead of real solutions, Canadians are getting recycled half-baked Trudeau-era Carney-condoned policies. Their grocery benefit is a temporary stopgap that ignores the root cause of rising prices. They have created massive inflationary deficits and piled on taxes that increase the cost to grow, ship, and sell food. They prefer to have Canadians destitute and forced to accept their dependence on Liberal handouts. People can see right through it. They know that every dollar spent by this government comes out of the pockets of Canadians. They know that yet another government program is failing to get to the root of the problems that they have caused.